This is an Armstrong International podcast.
Good afternoon. I'm Iona Prideaux from Armstrong International, and I have Will North here from the asset management team. Can you please introduce yourself?
Thanks, Iona. My name is Will. I joined Armstrong in late 2017 to co-lead the asset management practice, and this includes further developing our capabilities across fixed income, equities, multi-asset, and the wider solutions business as well.
And what are the main trends you're seeing in asset management, and how are they affecting hiring across the sector?
Well, like the rest of the financial services sector, asset managers are under a huge amount of pressure currently. And this includes pressure on fees in this race to zero, which has led many firms to develop lower cost strategies such as ETFs or passive strategies. And this has been done through a number of ways, including acquisitions, hiring whole teams, or hiring a team leader to develop strategies from scratch and then growing them organically. In addition to that, there's a lot of development in ESG and SRI, and this is both in terms of launching and running dedicated products, but also actually bringing on individuals who can incorporate investment themes across the ESG field. And this is also in the wider business area as well. Many firms are actually launching new divisions in this area because there is a perceived lack of talent. And finally, also data science. A lot of firms are launching whole divisions in this area, trying to utilize the vast amounts of data that they have in the business. And this is both to improve the investment capabilities that they have, but also actually the wider business units as well. In fact, the busiest person in our office is our head of advanced analytics.
And just on Brexit, has this affected firms transferring people abroad in the same way that the global banks have?
No, I wouldn't say to the same extent anyway. There's been a noticeable increase in hiring, and this is really across compliance, regulatory specialists, but also actually product developers, all to be based on the continent in cities such as Luxembourg, in Amsterdam, in Dublin. But in addition, actually, we have seen more US and Anglo-Saxon asset managers targeting the bringing on of bolt-on acquisitions of individuals based on the continent to actually give them access to investment talent locally on the ground.
And what about gender diversity? What are firms doing to attract talent in the sector?
Firms have a number of strategies that have been incorporating to attract talent, both in terms of the investment teams, but actually also in the boards as well. Firstly, whilst it was recently announced that less than 20% of CFAs are actually held by females, asset managers are actually being encouraged by many industry bodies to be more open-minded as to where they actually source their talent from. And this is across individuals' professional accreditation, education, backgrounds, etc. But in addition to that, asset managers are also providing more flexible work environments for all of their employees to allow for better work-life balances. And this includes the likes of return-to-work schemes, flexible working hours, help with childcare, etc. But the real change comes from the earlier stages of individuals' careers, so actually encouraging people to enter the sector in the first place. And this can be in schools, in universities, and this is also actually providing role models for individuals to actually be encouraged to join the asset management space in the first place. But then also off the back of that, it's actually also very important to consider retaining that talent as well, as there's been a perceived outflow of female professionals for a variety of different reasons. And what we do at Armstrong is we have a number of different strategies. So firstly, we aim to have at least 30% of our shortlist containing diverse candidates. But in addition to that, we are active members of a number of different schemes around diversity. And this includes active membership at the 30% Club, the CFA Gender Network, and also for the past 2 years, we've been a key supporter and sponsor of the Investment Week Women in Investment Awards.
Finally, what are the other active areas of hiring expected for the second half of 2018?
So we expect a lot of hiring to take place right across investment, but the key areas where we expect probably the most amount of attention to include the macro piece within fixed income. The hedge funds so far have been driving it this year. We expect off the back of that a lot of the long-only traditional asset managers to expand their talent in the absolute return space. We've actually seen a lot of individuals being attracted across the hedge funds from absolute return teams in long-only firms, which is something we haven't seen before. In addition to that, emerging markets across debt and also equities have been incredibly popular. And specifically on the emerging market debt side, there's been a huge amount of focus for local currency specialists, and this is both within research but also fund management. And on the emerging equity side, we've seen a lot of regional specialists being very much in vogue over the last few years, and certainly this is something we expect to continue. Finally, product specialists are deeply sought after in the investment management space. In addition to that, solutions experts as well. There's been a large amount of hiring in these areas. Particularly important is to have individuals with language skills. In addition to that, many firms are actually looking to bring on alternative specialists as they look to attract clients with greater yields, but also actually a broader, diverse product range. And this really includes individuals who can cover all the various different alternative asset areas, such as real estate, infrastructure, direct lending, all of which are very much more sought after. Firms really do need to be flexible in considering where they get their talent from. So they are now having to be very open-minded to taking individuals from the investment consultants, from the sales side, to name a couple of areas.
That's great, Will. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for listening to the Armstrong International podcast. For more information on what we do, please visit www.armstrongint.com.